guys for coming to my speech this evening for my communication class. It's going to be a speech to let you guys know what happens in a pharmacy from the time you walk in and hand your prescription over to someone to when you get to leave. A lot of people think that and wonder why it takes so long, why there's so many steps, why there's questions, because you don't ever know what goes on back behind the counter until you're back there for a little bit. So I've been a pharmacy tech for 9 years now. Pretty familiar with it. I train other technicians, help train new pharmacists, make sure that our training is up to date with the national standard as well as the state standard. The first thing that happens whenever you come into a pharmacy, you've already left your doctor's office. Usually you're either sick or you've had blood work or you've had to take off work. You don't generally want to be there. So we try to get you in and out as quickly as possible. Whenever you hand your prescription over to the pharmacist or the technician, they'll write your name down, write your date of birth, make sure they can read everything that's on the prescription, which is easier said than done a lot of the times. They'll scan it into an image scanner. It will come up on a computer screen. Each pharmacy chain has a different program that's used for entering prescriptions, and I'm only familiar with the one at Walgreens, but it shows the image on the left side of the screen, and then on the right you go through data entry. You enter the drug name, the quantity, there's the drug strength, the directions, and then there is the doctor and refills and all of their information. Also on there, we use what's called SIG codes. When the doctor writes your prescription, a lot of times the people that bring it to us can't read what's on there. It will say like 1 PO BID. And what that translates to is 1 tablet or capsule by mouth 2 times a day. There's just thousands and thousands of different SIG codes. Nurses use them, doctors use them, and pharmacies use them. And we type those in, and our system converts those to the words that are on your label, which is nice. It saves us some time. It also leaves some room for mistake when some doctors they have different SIG codes for vets' offices, and we do fill PEP prescriptions. So sometimes when they get lost in translation, we have to call and verify with doctors. After the technician or the pharmacist types everything into the system, another pharmacist will verify it. They check and make sure all the fields are correct, that they match what's on the prescription to what's going to come out on the label. Make sure the doctor's office phone number, because doctors travel a lot, is in fact the one that's going to be on your bottle in case you need to call, in case there needs to be refills, anything like that. So once that happens, the label prints out. In order to fill the prescription, you have to actually scan the leaflet. It's got a barcode on it. Then you have to find the particular product and scan the barcode on that bottle. Each product has what is called an NDC. There are 3 sets of digits. The first digits annotate what manufacturer that bottle came from. The next one is the drug itself, and then the third one is the package size. Each and every company has to have a different number for their bottles and their prescriptions. In case there's ever any kind of issue, we know exactly where it came from. Each package size has to be different. Anything that's different in the bottle has to be on there. And so it has to match up perfectly, or else the scanner will reject it. We have to figure out the issue. A lot of times we get new manufacturing companies every week on our warehouse to try to keep the cost down for people that are paying cash prices. We try to order the cheapest. Sometimes it works out that way, sometimes it still doesn't. So then we scan it, it tells us how much to count, or what size bottle we need. We do that, then we send it down to the pharmacist. The pharmacist then at that point is checking that the product that's on the label matches the prescription that comes up and that matches what's in the actual bottle. Make sure the patient's label matches the leaflet, that everything is one cohesive, correct prescription. At this point, they also check to see if there's any drug interactions, to see if there are any patient allergies. A lot of times doctors aren't aware of stuff, patients forget to tell their doctors. Or if you're seeing, like my grandmother sees 5 or 6 different doctors for different things, sometimes it's hard to get them all to match up with what drug is being given by which doctor. So we check all that, make sure everything's correct, good to go. Sometimes we have to call doctors, make sure that they know about those issues. Sometimes that is challenging. They can take days to get back to us. A couple days ago, it took us 3 days to call on insulin to actually get a doctor, and we're going, you know, this is insulin, the patient probably needs this. So eventually we get it straightened out, but it does take a little bit sometimes. And at this point, once everything's been checked, then pharmacist checks off on it in the computer. They can put what's called a cap on it, which is a little flag if they have something they need to talk to you about once you get there. But then for the most part, you're on your way, and I know most people are ready to go home at the end of the day from the doctor and the pharmacy. Hope that you guys have a little bit more understanding of what goes on. There's all kinds of issues that can pop up in there, from insurance to, like I told you guys, about doctors and drug allergies. And all of it's done for the patient's safety. You're there to get the right medication for either cough, cold, blood pressure, cholesterol, whatever. You need it for whatever purpose, and we're there to do it correctly. So that's why there's all those checks and balances. Hope you guys have a better understanding. Thank you guys for coming out and listening. Y'all have a good night.